So, Judge Berman, or should I say Dr. Berman, has determined that Dinesh D'Souza, that dude who did the movies 2016 and America Imagine a World Without Her, be held to 4 more years of community service, and Dinesh be made to continue with psychiatric treatment. Looks to me like the judge ain't judging from the bench, but it's more like a judge who's judging from that long leather couch.
I think what's happening. Propaganda.
I think Berman is projecting. He's imposing on D'Souza what it looks like Berman needs, more psychiatric treatment. Berman's a liberal, and just like a liberal, he takes liberties. And it looks like he's taking the liberty to make a diagnosis, not a court judgment. And it's assuming to write a prescription for treatment, not issuing a sentence. Hey, Berman, you're a judge. You are a black robe, not a white robe. White robes are for the ones who work in head shrinking. And speaking of head shrinking, it sounds like your head's too big for your robe, as it seems your opinion of Dinesh D'Souza is more valid than the 2 counselors appointed to him. They say D'Souza is fine, but their professional opinion isn't worth the stain on a blue dress to this Berman. I reckon he finds Bill Clinton more believable than the counselors appointed to D'Souza. Not that he should have had to go through this in the first place. Dinesh's so-called crime was violating a law that was already a violation of the Constitution and the people's First Amendment rights. Liberals, and I reckon I gotta include John McCain with this thinking concerning campaign finance reform, really think that they are better people because they're all about it. And they don't see that they're totally contrary to their own ideals because they refuse to see that they want fairness by being unfair. And they justify this by deciding that some people can afford to be treated unfairly. Yeah, that's easy for the government to say when it's someone else's rights or property. If someone wants to contribute $1 million to someone's campaign, so what? That's their right. If I throw a concert and one person is there with $1 million, we may like getting $1 million, but it's not gonna be a very exciting concert. But since more people can afford to pay $10 or $20 to be at the concert, that's gonna equal more people. That's gonna be a lot more fun and exciting. We don't need some law to make that happen. The free market does that itself. And if a candidate is able to warrant that much confidence from somebody, so be it. It's funny how the government doesn't have a problem with how much it takes from people, but when you try to freely give, you get penalized for it. And then the government ends up taking more money as it fines you more than what you tried to give away in the first place. D'Souza didn't do anything wrong. He tried to circumvent a law that should have not been imposed on us in the first place. Liberals talk about fairness. While D'Souza gets punished for trying to give somebody money, liberals think that that's fair. According to them, giving the amount of money he wanted to give is not fair, but punishing him for it is fair. Like I said, with liberals, the best way to push fairness is by being unfair. This judge is trying to tell you that his judgment of D'Souza isn't personal, while judging D'Souza on his personality. This isn't even about D'Souza's so-called contribution crimes. The judge simply doesn't like the way D'Souza thinks. Talk about thought police. And this judge gets to keep his position, despite his tyrannical tendencies. However, Judge Alan McConnell in Toledo, Ohio, is threatened by impeachment for not bending to the tyranny that says you have to officiate same-sex weddings and forfeit your First Amendment rights that protects your right to obey the word of God. I'm Alfonso Rachel with ZoNation, and you're not seeing the brain change of the state, are you? You liberals who claim to hate fascism and tyranny so much are the very ones who invite such evil. The state is basically telling Dinesh to concede that there are 5 lights when there's actually 4. It sounds like your head's too big for your robe,